Well, good morning, Vikings. Today we're going to be talking about the political process and specifically political parties. Of course, you know the two primary parties are Republicans and Democrats, but there are other parties as well. We're going to be looking at Section 3. Political parties are groups of people organized to elect their members to public office. And the United States has a two-party system. Political parties contribute to the public good by selecting candidates and by educating voters. So let's get started. Political parties kind of got started. They weren't called political parties, but way back during the time of even George Washington and John Adams. Um, James Madison wrote about political parties, but he called them factions. A faction is a group of citizens, whether a majority or a minority, that pursues its own interests at the expense of the common good. And they are very closely aligned with interest groups. In fact, a faction could be called an interest group, but they have morphed into more formal organizations called the political parties. Uh, Madison wrote in Federalist Number 10, the public good is disregarded in the conflict of rival parties, and measures are too often decided not according to the rules of justice and the rights of the minor party, but by the superior force of an interested and overbearing majority. So the question then became, if you want to respect the majority, the will of the majority, how do you guard the rights of the minority? And that's really what Madison would write about in Federalist Number 10. Political parties, defined as an organized group that seeks to win elections in order to influence the activities of government. They grow out of party ideology. Each party has a basic set of ideas and goals about society and the role of government. That is its ideology. And you can see there the definition for ideology is that integrated assertions, theories, and aims that make up a social or political program. Political spectrum, that goes from left to right, is the difference in political views held by the different political parties. It involves the continuum of social and political beliefs that stretch from conservative on the right to liberal on the left. And that's a continuum. Where do you fall? If you'd really like a fun exercise, go to the political compass. The political compass on Google it, political compass, and take their test and see where you fall. That is very interesting. I've got mine up on the board already. And so it'd be interesting to see where you fall. But anyway, do so that. On the current political spectrum, Democrats tend to be more left, Republicans tend to be more toward the right. And liberals, Democrats, tend to want larger government to foster change in social policies, political policies, economics. Conservatives want a limited government. They believe that the best freedom occurs when government is limited. They want lower taxes, typically, traditional social values, status quo, don't change things. And then there are the moderates, the people who are seeking a middle ground that want to be somewhere in the middle. So liberals, conservatives, moderates in the middle. Party's three main goals. One is to nominate candidates for political office. And they go through a nominating process, selecting candidates for that elective office. And that's the main function of the party. And candidates generally will fit with the party's beliefs. And there are certain benefits for a candidate that goes along. It joins a party. Money, workers, supporters, state and local level. So people tend to identify with a party when they're running for office. The second role is they aid the electoral process. Parties help to educate people about issues and encourage them to get out and vote. And the parties provide a brand name for those who are running as well as for those who are voting. And the parties also help the electorate to vote. They register them to vote. They tell them what issues are important. They tell them where to go vote. The electorate, you probably know this, is the body of people entitled to vote. Citizens, if you will, who are above the age of 18 and above, according to the Constitution. Accountability for their party and the watchdog for their party as well, making sure they're behaving. And then the third thing is to help to operate the government. Once they're elected, actively involved in government. The majority governs. The question is, how effectively do they govern? How do political parties differ from interest groups? You want to think about that. Both of them could be considered, as Madison said, factions. But anyway, think about that a little bit. Okay, so political parties are inside the government, while interest groups are outside the government. So interest groups want to influence political parties. In America, we have a two-party system. The role of political parties depends on the type of party system a country has. More parties, the smaller role and influence of a single party. There are three basic types of systems. A one-party system, such as China, they have the Communist Party. Cuba has the Communist Party. One party. You get to vote, but you only vote for one party. Two-party system in the U.S., parties compete to control the government. Other parties may exist and they may affect elections, but rarely do they elect the national leader. And then there's the multi-party system. India, Italy, Austria, this is the most common type of system. Several parties compete for control, and then government is by a coalition. Now, I've got a few slides in here to help you with this. These are some of the parties and some of the countries that are out there. India has 12 parties. Italy, Austria, where I used to live and am most familiar with, has 5 parties. Most of them form a coalition government when 2 or more parties come together to form a majority of the national legislature. For instance, in Germany, Christian Democrats and Social Democrats form the Grand Coalition. They hold 448 seats out of 614, giving them a majority. And you can see that in the Netherlands as well. Here's Austria, and this was back in 2017. The People's Party, there are 3 parties, or actually 5 parties, but there are 3 major parties here. And as you can see from our graph, none of them have a majority, so they have to come together to govern. And you may have the right, this is the Freiheitspartei Österreich, which is in blue, and they may form a coalition with the People's Party in black, and so govern. Or if perhaps the SPO forms a coalition with the black, they might govern. But really, they're going to govern through a coalition. And this was the it means Vienna should not become Chicago. This is the Austrian People's Party. And recently, the Israeli Knesset has 120 seats. These 2 men voted. Neither one could get a majority, and neither one of them wanted to govern. So they kind of worked out some special rules to help them. Let's see. And this is the Israeli Knesset after the April 2019. You can see the Likud and the blue and white. And going back, here is the Likud, Benjamin Netanyahu, Benny Kratz, and they've worked out a system where one will govern for a certain amount of time and the other will govern. So, Knesset. So you just want to know that most countries have a multiple party system. American political parties, they're Federalist originally. Hamilton, strong central government, large cities, strong manufacturing base. Washington probably leaned toward the Federalists. Democratic Republicans, along came Jefferson and Madison. They wanted an agricultural base, ordinary citizens of the communities. And in 1824, the Democratic Republicans would split. And the Whigs became part of that split, and they eventually would die out. Democrat and Republicans would later split into Democrats and Republicans. And a third party is defined as any political party in a two-party system other than the two major ones. And again, right now those are Republican and Democrat, not Democratic, Democrat. Independent candidate is a candidate who is not associated with any party. For instance, they can't affect elections. Ralph Nader certainly did in 2000 when Bush was running against Gore. Very interesting election here. 270 votes, as you know, needed to win the Electoral College. And Bush won Florida's 25 electoral votes, giving him the presidency. But the reason he won is, you can see right there, he had a few more votes than did Al Gore. But look what Ralph Nader did. He got 1% of the votes. Now, what if this 1% had gone to Al Gore? Then Al Gore would have won Florida, and Al Gore would have been president. So third party can't affect an election. Party organization, how are they organized? Well, they are organized on the local level. Local parties, visually, usually by counties. Precinct, you want to know the definition of a precinct. An award. A ward is made up of several precincts. I don't have them in the South so much as they do in places like Illinois. State parties, there are local parties, there are state parties, and then there are the national parties. The National Committee is composed of representatives from the state committees. National chair leads a large paid staff, manages the party's operations. Major parties have committees for fundraising, supporting campaigns, etc. Campaign committees to elect the House candidates to the House and Senate, and they may also sponsor organizations at different levels, like college Republicans or college Democrats and things like that. These are the two leaders of the Democrat and the Republican Party, Tom Perez and Romney McDaniel. She is Mitt Romney's niece and a staunch supporter of President Trump. There are benefits of political parties, as we've talked about before. These political parties kind of filter out extreme ideas. Parties provide stability against rapid, disruptive change. Democrats generally lean left, Republicans right. Democrats generally include labor unions, feminists, racial and ethnic minorities, educated urban voters, the elite white, and things like that. Republicans generally include religious conservatives, corporate and business interests, and most white men tend to be Republicans. Party loyalty promotes stability, and again, it provides a brand name for ideological views. Some of the criticisms, they lack unity and loyalty. Sometimes you have mavericks break away. John McCain didn't follow President Trump. They had a feud. And they are not able to follow through on platforms and campaign promises. And due to interest group contributions, parties act in ways that benefit narrow interests rather than the public good. Office seekers who are more interested in personal success than the public good. Anyway, politics. So partisan bickering back and forth. And this little bit in your book, will voting for a third-party candidate. Should you vote for a third-party candidate? Some say your vote will not count or will not be meaningful. Others say that the vote for a third-party candidate is both meaningful and worthwhile. And here you have a picture of Jesse Ventura, who was a pro wrestler and ran for office and became governor of the state of Minnesota. So at any rate, look those over, and that is 9-3, the political process. Have fun, do well on the quiz, and get yourself ready for 9